Hi everybody, this is Manas Chakravarty, faculty in the area of HR at Globsyn Business School. As I speak to you today at the end of March 2020, the world around us has changed beyond recognition. This COVID-19 lockdown is like the Great Depression and the World Wars put together, and perhaps even that is an understatement. Never before has the human race felt so miserable. This strange new world around us is making us learn new ways to live and new ways to work. And the new way to work is work from home. Well, you would have worked from home earlier as well, maybe a day once in a while, maybe a couple of days together, maybe even a routine of 1 day a week or 2 days a month. But that has always been you. Now what's happening is that's everybody, everywhere, all the time. Now, what cannot be done and what can be done during work from home is important. There are very many things that really cannot be done during work from home. Therefore, it's very important that for the things that can be done during work from home, we are at our productive bests. Now, productivity at work is always a challenge. Ask any target-driven manager or even a conscious-stricken employee, they'll vouch for it. So productivity at work is anyway a challenge. Productivity at work from home is a bigger challenge. And productivity at work from home during lockdown is, of course, a challenge which is even greater. So let us see what we could do to be the most productive during this work from home in the course of a lockdown. The starting point of any discussion on productivity would be time management. So the little time that we have between us today here, we would talk about just a few things that you could keep in mind so that your time management contributes to your productivity during work from home at these times. I have a list of things here with me which I want to discuss. I have made a list purposefully so that this session remains productive. I don't go on a tangent and both of us make the best productive use of the time that we have between us. And you have to excuse me for looking into this list once in a while. Now, time management, the most tempting thing to do, the first tempting thing to do for time management is to make a to-do list. Does it work? I mean, all of us have made to-do lists and have been at work. And nothing better has come out of that. To-do list has no challenges to make. You can always make a to-do list. But perhaps a more important thing is to know when to do the things that you have in your to-do list. So, better than a to-do list is a priority list. So you have a little more control over what you want to do and when. Now, whether it's a to-do list or a priority list, they have the same challenge. I mean, the to-do list has a challenge like, it works more as a reminder. It can take care of forgetfulness. It can take care of amnesia, but nothing much beyond that. The priority list would be a little better than that because now you have said what you want to do when you want to do. But then how long will be that priority list? What will happen to things that are relegated at the bottom of the list? When will you find time to do that? That is the big question. What often happens is, since you have a priority list and you still have those things at the bottom of the list, you would, after having neglected them for some time, have pangs of guilt. And then what do? You allocate time to do at least a little of those things. And where does the time come from? That time comes from the list, the things that were higher up on your priority list. And in this entire process, you may end up messing with your priority list and not achieve much out of that. So don't make a priority list. What you should make is a posteriority list. This is not me, this is Peter Drucker's advice. The things that you don't do is what determines your productive use of time. So more than to make a to-do list, make a not to-do list. That is what will work. Even professors of strategy will talk to you about Michael Porter, who said that the essence of strategy is in deciding what not to do. That works for business strategy, organizational strategy. It will also work for your own personal strategy in time management. So make a posteriority list of things that you have decided not to do. It's not easy. You have to actually kill items that were there in your to-do list. So be very judicious, very careful about it. But when you sit down to do that work, be a little merciless. Otherwise, you will not be able to put too many things in your posteriority list, and that will affect the list of things that you would want actually to do. Another important thing you should keep in mind when dealing with time management is never allocate suboptimal time to do something. If something requires 1 hour to do, you have to allocate 1 hour to do that. You really cannot allocate half an hour and expect to achieve at least half of that. That doesn't happen. It doesn't work that way. And when you restart, probably you have to again put the whole 1 hour. So what has happened is, instead of saving that half an hour, you have actually wasted that half an hour by trying to allocate suboptimal time. So resist the temptation of allocating suboptimal time. Another thing that you could keep in mind is don't create a delay telescope. That is, one thing delaying and ramping onto the other, and so on and so forth. Look at how the railways manage their train schedules. If a train is getting late, they rather let that train go late and other trains overtake that than have all the trains getting late together. So instead of 5 trains getting late by 5 hours, they would rather want a situation where one train has got late by 5 hours and all others have gone on time. So you could apply the same process to your own list of things to do on a given day. If you are running short of time and you have already gone over across the time limits that you set, then take something totally out of your schedule and try to still be on time for the other things that you had planned to do. That 1 or 2 things that you take out, you can always find where to fit that in and which day. And that will be a process that will make better use of your time than allowing everything else that you are doing on that day to get delayed one after another. What is the chunk of time that you decide to watch? It's important that you watch a pre-designated chunk of time. Half an hour is what is often recommended. So watch every half an hour to keep a tab on productivity. And you could apply the Pomodoro Technique. Pomodoro Technique, I'll explain what Pomodoro is in a moment, but let me first talk about the technique. It works on the principle that you set a timer for every 25 minutes, and having allocated work for those 25 minutes, try and finish it within those 25 minutes, and at the end of those 25 minutes take a break of 5 minutes. With these individual clusters are called Pomodoros. After every 4 Pomodoro, take a longer break, about 15 or 20 minutes. That works wonderfully, both because you have now a self-created time frame, so you have a commitment to meet that. You have a reason not to be tempted with distractions. You have a reason not to go astray, do other things. You have a reason to prevent yourself from what we often say multitasking. Actually, multitasking, if you can do many things as a portfolio of things that you can do, that's great. But when you try to do many things at the same time, try to boil eggs or make tea and read the newspaper while making the tea at the same time, you see that your pan would be burnt. So don't try multitasking, and when you have a Pomodoro and a timer with it, you prevent yourself from making those mistakes. And the break that you take, the 5-minute break after every 25 minutes, that sometimes you would feel that since I'm already into something, why not finish it at one go, but that actually leaves you extremely fatigued and tired, and over a period of time that leads to burnout. So those short 5 minutes break and the longer 15 minutes break actually work to protect your productivity. So work for those Pomodoros, take 5 minutes breaks, and after every 4 Pomodoros, take a longer break of 15-20 minutes. Now, why is it called a Pomodoro? Well, the guy who proposed this concept used a timer which was the shape of a tomato, and tomato is called a Pomodoro. Guess in the language of which country? Italy. That doesn't have to scare you away now, because you don't have to look for a Pomodoro and timer, and for any timer at all, your mobile phone could do the same work. And in fact, there are Pomodoro apps on Google Play which you could download and use for working as your timer. So take a chunk of time. 25 minutes is what is recommended in the Pomodoro technique, and watch those 25 minutes, and don't forget to give your body and mind the breaks after every Pomodoro and a longer break after 4 Pomodoros. The Pomodoro effect the Pomodoro technique does have a limitation, and the limitation is at the present moment, when everybody together in your entire organization is working from home, the manager's responsibility of keeping track of your time is higher, and your concept of time management has to be compatible with your manager's concept of time management. So if you are working for chunks of 25 minutes of time, your manager has to be compatible with that, because he is as much responsible for your productivity as you are. So that's a limitation. I hope progressive looking managers would find ways out and let people be productive in their own efforts of time management, and be only minimally prescriptive about how they would want their individual employees to divide their work. That takes me to another institutional issue, and that's about the spatio-temporal boundaries. Now, by spatio-temporal boundaries, we mean boundaries of space, location, and temporal means time. Here it means time, and that is the boundaries of time. Now, this concept of spatio-temporal boundaries used to be relevant so long for global teams at work. because the team's members of the team may be located in different geographical zones, far away from each other, and not only they would be separated by distance that way, they could even be at locations which are in different time zones. So therefore, when you're trying to get things done together, you have to be conscious of the separation of space and the separation of time. Now, what has happened in this moment when everybody is working from home all the days of the week, everybody is constrained by the spatio-temporal boundary. Space, because even if you are in the same city, you are not in the same location. We are all at our respective homes. And though we may still be in the same time zone, the availability of conducive time may be different for different people. Say, for example, a manager schedules a video conference at 10 o'clock in the morning. But for a key member of his team, 10 o'clock may not be the greatest or the wisest time for a video conference. I mean, he may have been able to set up a home office desk at a place that is very close to the kitchen. And 10 o'clock in the morning, the decibel level in the kitchen may be very high. For him, maybe the afternoon is what works best. So how you get over this is an issue, but managers, senior leaders have to be conscious of this fact that though everybody is in the same city or in the same time zone, the conduciveness of the time to do a particular type of work may not be the same. Another area where, and this is also an institutional area because it involves the senior managers and the leaders. What has happened during this worldwide lockdown is that for the senior managers, the vacuum in their work life, the daily routine of work life is bigger than others. Senior managers have a lot of work connected to the external agencies, the world outside their organization. That includes travel. Now that has reduced almost to zero today. Internal work may still be carried out almost at the same level. I mean, at least we are trying to make it at the same level as we would do otherwise. But what about the external work? Because that has come down, senior managers actually are having a bigger vacuum, as I said, bigger gaps in their work schedules than the people who report to him. Now that leads to a temptation. And the temptation is to engage members of the team into work and conversation that may not be greatly productive. Managers have to resist this temptation. In your attempt to fill the vacuum in your work life, please do not pile on to the work schedule of your subordinates and send them their productivity to a toss. The subordinates don't like it. It doesn't benefit the company, and you would not like it either when you reflect upon it. Well, if you really have time at your hand which you're not able to devote to work that matches your work profile, take work from the profile of some junior level. I mean, for example, make calls to important clients. Maybe only an assistant would have done that in the past. But do it now yourself. At least some of those calls. If you have conducted a meeting, make the minutes yourselves. Give your secretary a break. She'll like it. She deserves it. So you could maybe a renovation of a particular page in your website. You have been wanting the communications manager to be doing it. Make a draft now by yourself and then give it to the communications manager. So find ways of filling in the vacuum in your work life. And this is important not just for the senior managers. This is also important for even students now who could be watching this program, because in management, we don't really teach you what you would do just the first year in your job, but we also prime you up, set you up to be able to be productive senior managers and senior leaders of the future. And believe you me, God forbid, but this is not the last lockdown that you are seeing in your lifetime. Older people like us, we don't know, but lockdown is perhaps going to become the new normal under many circumstances. So when you become senior managers, keep this in mind, what we discussed today, that you have to find a way to fill the vacuums in your work life without piling on to the agenda of your subordinates. And if you cannot find work to fill that time, chill. Take a break. I mean, after months and years of slogging, you deserve it. Your subordinates are not going to grudge it, and you would do yourselves and your family at home a great service. So chill, take a break, but resist temptation of filling the vacuum in your work life by engaging your subordinates into unproductive work. I'd close by suggesting that while you improve your productivity at work, all of us have the responsibility of ensuring that the society at large remains productive. And how do we do that? We do that by keeping ourselves healthy and, in the present context, making and keeping safe distance from people when we still have to go out and interact or deal with the outside world. So that's all from me for now. Thank you very much for watching this show. Thank you.